Emily Ehman here for the Big Ten Network. Michigan Volleyball hired a new coach this offseason, Erin Virtue, who is with me now. But she is not new to Big Ten fans, as she previously had stints at Illinois as a player. She was an assistant at Michigan and one of my former assistant coaches at Northwestern. Coach Virtue, how does it feel to be back in the Big Ten family?
Oh, amazing. I mean, just when I was 16-year-old going through the recruiting process, my big sister was playing in the Big Ten. Like, I knew this was a conference I wanted to play in. And then when I started coaching, I knew it was a conference I wanted to coach in. And my first, like you said, my first stint at Michigan was amazing. I always thought of it as a kind of a second home for me. So I'm so excited to be back.
Well, your last season in the league was in 2018 with Northwestern, but since then you've been full-time with Team USA. What made you want to get back into the college game?
Yeah, I'm still with Team USA. I love my job there. I love the staff, the team. Honestly, it was this job. I think I've been really fortunate in my career where, phone calls come in or opportunities come through. And for me, it was this opportunity. It was to be in Ann Arbor. It was to be with this team. And I just felt like it was the right time for me to kind of dive back in. And they called and I was like, oh, yeah, let's look at this one and let Karch know. And he was like, well, no, duh, of course you want to look at that one. So for me, it was like, just kind of fate. And for me, I'm so excited that I have support from the people that I get to work with to finish our stint off in Paris. But this was really just because it was Michigan.
Yeah, so to dive deeper into that, why Michigan?
So I think it's a school to me when I'm looking to bring people to come join our team, staff to come join. The thing I love about it is it's not just you're not just making a commitment to be there for 4 years. It's really a lifetime. It's consumes you as an alum. And, I am walking around convention centers or in the airport and people are go bluing everywhere. And it's just the pride of the university. It's something that I just love bringing people into, and recruiting sometimes can feel like sales or feel like, you're trying to, really convince someone to join. And Michigan, it's not the case. Here, it's the full package. We want to be great athletically. We want to be great academically, and then culturally, and just the pride of what this university brings. I mean, it sticks with you, and it stuck with me. Even though I wasn't an alum, it just stuck with me after my first time here.
You can definitely see it. I think Michigan is one of those places that, as you mentioned, the alumni network is so interconnected. And you could be out in California or New York and you're always going to get a go blue if you're wearing something Michigan. But you mentioned it. You began your career in the Big Ten as a player at Illinois. What do you remember most about your time in an Illini jersey?
Yeah, I think so. My time at Illinois as a player, I mean, I treasured it. Honestly, the things that I think back on now, I reflect on, obviously I'm a coach, and my time at Illinois, I played so many roles, and that helped me. I think that helps me be a more empathetic and well-rounded coach. I was the starter, I was the captain, I was the injured player, I was the bench warmer, I was the serving specialist, just like a small role. I try to find ways to help my team in lots of ways. And I think that makes me better as a coach. It makes me try to make sure I'm working with the entire roster. I'm trying to develop people at their own rates. But that really is I loved my time there. I played for Don Harden, who also taught a lot of skills beyond just the craft on the court, but just how to be a good teammate and the things there. I really treasured my time.
Thinking back to when you played, how do you think the college game has changed most since you were a player?
Oh, the speed for sure. So I was a setter and I watch video. I mean, there's very few videos of me playing, but I watch and it's this high ball offense and it's super slow. And I'm thinking, there was still really good athleticism, all these things. But the speed of the game is just getting faster. And I think it's more exciting for fans. I think also just the way that we're able to project out to the network of fans in the community and families to be able to watch and people overseas able to watch. That part's amazing. So I think the speed it's complementary of the way that the media behind the game is going, because the game is becoming more and more exciting the faster it's being played.
After your time as a player, you went on to coach at Loyola, Cincinnati, and then were an assistant coach at Michigan from 2011 to 2015, where you guys made a Final Four in 2012. How do you feel like you grew most as a player during your time as an assistant at Michigan?
Yeah, so I think for me as a coach and everywhere I went as an assistant, it was a chance to grow in an area that I maybe was a little unfamiliar with. So back at my time at Michigan, I can think back to, gosh, so that would have been 15 years ago. I came here for the first time, almost 15. I I really wanted to learn in the like analytics of the game a little bit more. And so my time here was really a growth of scouting, a growth of diving into the statistical part, the analytical part, worked with our technical coordinators at the time, and really grew in this space of how to analyze video, how to find ways to get just 1 point better. Then my time going into Northwestern was to learn a little bit more from Shane, who is a coach that I really respect. And he was coming from a different element in the men's part of volleyball and just how to teach the game in a different way. And then going into working with the national team and just finding ways to continue to grow as a coach. And I hope that never ends for me, even though I'm a head coach now, for one program and assistant coach still with USA, but in a chance for me to still continue to always get better. So that's a big part of who I am. I'm going to ask that of my players, my staff, and then I need to lead with that too.
We've had some pretty big moments as a coach. You mentioned your time with USA Volleyball, who you're still continuing to work with. But we got to look back at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, where your team dominated the entire tournament to win the first ever gold medal. When that last kill went down, what do you remember?
Oh, I think honestly, I was in awe of this team. I just get a little emotional thinking of it, even like this group of women achieved something that no other USA team had done in a gold medal in the Olympic Games and have come really close with really, really amazing teams and amazing coaches. And I think that moment, I remember just looking at Luca and Tama and Karch and Kara, who's on the bench with us, and then seeing Jimmy and Marv kind of running down and Sue. And we just hugged our staff super tight and the girls were going crazy on the court. But it was just this awe moment. And the most emotional I got in the Olympics, I think, was actually after we won the semifinal game, the semifinal game, going into the championships, when I knew this team earned a medal. As you have, either gold or silver, you're going into play the other best team in the world in Brazil. And they were undefeated at that point. We had been defeated in the Olympics. We had a bounce back against Russia, but for me, that was pretty emotional moment to get into the final game. Know you have a chance to earn a chance to get that gold.
You mentioned how proud you were of this group, but I wonder, what were you most proud of to get you that emotional?
Yeah, if anyone followed our Olympic journey, they would have for sure looked about how our team wanted to be the strongest team in the world. We weren't necessarily the team that had one superstar. We had plenty of superstars, don't get me wrong, lots of household names, and everyone should know those names. We had the MVP of the Olympics in Jordan Larson, but for me, it was because of who we were as a unit and as a team and the work that was put in. Now, everyone in the world was going through hard things with COVID and there being no fans in the audience, very few fans, like only a couple maintenance workers in Tokyo saw us win the gold medal live. But just knowing what that team had gone through and the journey to get to that point as a culture was, to me, the proudest. Of course, to do well and win and do so, just wonderfully 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 in the quarter semifinals as a coach and how we played that game. But who we were when we won that was certainly the thing that probably made me the most emotional.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be able to catch up with a few of those players, and the number one thing they always talk about is the culture of that group and how strong it was and how much they worked on it to get to that point, because it wasn't a given for you guys. And to go in, quarterfinal, semi, and then the championship, just sweep everyone. I think it was a testament to how strong that culture was. And I mean, what a better group of girls to do it with. Every one of them is just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, it was amazing. And just we had 2 starters have injuries, and again, back to what I learned when I was a player as the injured player and how to work through that. And, we had people come back from that, great teammates, supporting teammates. Some played every minute, some played very little minutes. And so it was just what we prepared for. We were tested big time and culturally tested, and that any one of those moments could have, derailed us, but it didn't, because we were prepared for those moments and we worked hard to get ready for it.
So even though you've taken over the Michigan program, you've mentioned that you're still staying on the USA staff. How involved will you be with Team USA from here on out, like you said, through Paris?
Yeah, so actually, as we're recording this, we're 500 days away from the Paris Olympics. And so that to me it's a commitment that I made right after Tokyo, when Karch asked me to stay on through the Paris Olympics. And so taking this, obviously it's a big job for me in Michigan. We have so much work to do and a lot of growth to be had. The biggest thing for me was to hire an amazing staff at Michigan, knowing that my time would be taken away at times for sure in the summers, the next 2 summers, to work with Team USA. So as I developed that plan, and it's a working plan that I need to really comb through the next 500 days with both the Michigan staff and the USA staff. And in Karch speaking with some of our athletes for USA was, we want to have as much consistency on that side as possible, as this is already a really short quad, only 3 years to Paris. And so my work is with them intermittently now as the athletes are overseas. That's not changing that much, but as we get into May and lead up to VNL, I'll be on those events in VNL and our Olympic qualifiers this year. And then next year we have the Paris VNL and then the Paris Olympics. And so I'll plan to still travel with our top group, still coach that group up. Now I'll have trips back and forth. And if there's a big visit on campus, I want to try to be here and meet those athletes here at Michigan. I'll be back for our camps in late July. And so it'll be a lot of back and forth. It's going to definitely need a lot of organization. It's a good thing I'm a pretty organized person. But I couldn't be more proud to really support 2 missions. And, I think when I was talking to the athletic director, Ward Manuel here at Michigan, it wasn't just like, yeah, Erin, we'll support you. He was celebrating that, we want one of our coaches, our lacrosse coach, is on the national team for Australia. She plays on that team still. We've had our swim coaches on that team. Michael Phelps was training for the Olympics when he was on our swim team. But that is something that in this culture here is very celebrated, to have people want to be part of the next level. And so it wouldn't work at every place. But I don't want to just be supported. I want it to be something that is we want this for Michigan as well, for our coaches and athletes to be on the biggest stage.
Switching gears a little bit, you're in Ann Arbor now. You've had a few months with your players. What's been your strategy to get to know them all and to have them get to know you and your new staff?
Yeah, so I've, getting to know the athletes and onboarding this new staff has been really fun. So as staff have come in, we just get to know them. I think to really coach people, and we have new systems, techniques, language. You've been part of a staff that's been new. And so that can be really overwhelming for an athlete. So it's so important that they know who we are as people, kind of why I'm going to either lead the way or teach the way I want to teach. What science or research is backing that up, and then just really getting to know on the personal level and just who they are, what motivates them. When we're recruiting someone, we have the luxury of knowing their parents, their dogs, where their hometown is, what high school they went to. And when you jump into a new team, you don't have that background. And so getting to know the athletes on that level is massive, and we've had some really awesome moments. We had some, tough moments already with our team, and just with family members of our team, and just what that looks like. And I got to learn really early how this team supports one another, and how the department supports, a team member that is hurting. And so I think that's the things that I think we can't hide from in any year, but certainly not now. And just a place where if there's something that isn't amazing going on in someone's life, that we need to make sure we know how to support them. So just being able to do that, not only with myself, but making sure our athletes have time with Dan, with Benavia, with Coley. We'll just hired a new performance analyst. They want to get to know that person. And so all of those, the staff is amazing. I wanted to make sure we're hiring amazing people first, and leaders and teachers, and that can bring lots of personality to this team and staff.
Yeah, and you mentioned that trust factor. I think one of the reasons why I loved you so much as a coach was because you were so transparent about everything. And, when coaches or players would come ask, why we're doing something, you always had a reason as to why you were doing it and why it's done the way it is. And I think that was something I always admired about you as a coach. But looking up to your spring schedule, it's coming up. You got a few great opponents. You're capping it off with a marquee matchup against Michigan State on April 15th. What are you most looking forward to this spring?
Yeah, we have a small group. We have 10 training this spring. Yeah. In one way, it's nice to be able to set some foundation and get culture going. But in another way, with only 10, we have some practice players that come in, but you just are excited to play someone else. And for us, we're putting new systems in place. So I'm just excited to test those things. And that's a way for us to learn. So, we can think of it as, if you're in a course in chemistry, you're taking quizzes as it goes. And yeah, like you said, we culminate with Michigan State and a really nice match on April 15th in Grand Rapids. And so we just have these little, we'll play Eastern Michigan, and that'll be kind of the first part of our course. And we're going to learn a lot about our team at that point. Are we a polished product? No. Will we ever be? I hope not, because that means our team's always growing. So I'm excited, one, to see how they embrace competition. We of course embrace it in our practice gym and in training. But I'm excited to see, they're going to put the jersey on. We'll get to be in Chrysler, and just be able to have our first match. Also get to know a lot of the families in that first match on the 26th. Some alums, hopefully, that will come that are local, and in a way just to see the community around this group and actually meet everybody. So, but as far as competition goes, it just is a good test for us and to see kind of where we are. We had a lot of graduating or fifth years that are moving on. And so we have new roles for this team as well, on top of new staff and a lot of new. So fans can expect to see a lot of new faces on the court, some returners, of course, but new systems and just a lot of newness in Michigan right now.
Well, Coach, since you're a new coach here in the Big Ten, we didn't get you at Media Day, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions that our other Big Ten coaches had to go through. First up, who is your favorite band or singer?
Oh, okay. Especially with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I like Gaelic Storm and the High Kings. This is Irish music. Yeah.
Have you seen him in concert?
Yes. And Gaelic Storm, actually, the last time I saw them were at the Arc, which is in Ann Arbor. It's a really cool concert venue. Yeah.
All right, which actress would play you in a movie?
Man, my aunt thinks that Jennifer Garner should play me in a movie, though I think she's just got that kind of a fun, very, very authentic personality.
Yeah.
One word or phrase to describe your team?
Curious. Right now, very curious.
Mm-hmm. What's the most memorable game or moment of your entire coaching career?
Olympic gold medal.
That felt like an easy one.
Yeah.
What's the number one thing you're looking forward to this upcoming season?
Number one thing, just embracing our team and kind of getting better.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. It was so nice to, let everyone get to know you a little bit more if they didn't know you already. It was good, of course, for me to be able to talk to you. And I'm so excited to watch you guys this spring and then into next fall. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so proud of all the work you're doing. So keep it up. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you. You're the best.
All right. Go Blue.